I found lately that while I enjoy the process of writing and recording my videos, the part that I'm never quite so good at is the editing. I feel like it takes me way longer than it should to get even the most basic levels of editing done. And all the time I'll think of these little things I could do to improve a video's visual quality, like basic map animations, or highlighting an image, or some kind of sound design or some such. Even something as simple as zooming in and out on my face for comedic effect whenever it's relevant. But then by the time I actually get to that stage in the editing, I usually don't want to dedicate however long to figuring out how to do something and then spend an unnecessarily long amount of time trying to figure out like how to make it work, whether the timing works, and if this image is better than this one, things like that. And even when I know how to do something, when I know what it wants to look like, well, more often than not, I get lazy. I get a little impatient. I just want to get the video out of the gate so that the work can actually be seen. Ultimately, I feel like this content could be better, and more importantly, that it could be more regular as well. The way I see it, instead of spending hours and hours of time alongside a disproportionate amount of like emotional energy, doing the most like basic of basic editing stuff that isn't really all that impressive, instead I could be spending that same amount of time researching, writing, and recording. So I'd like to announce that I am currently seeking editors for my YouTube channel. Probably 2 individuals, but I really don't have any specific number in mind. I wouldn't be opposed to more people being, on retainer, so to say. I wouldn't necessarily have the funding, to hire out for like literally every video that I make, like a whole bunch of business right away. But it's my hope that I could give each person that I bring on at least 1 video per month to work on, and hopefully, again, as time goes by, I'll be able to give more work, as we go along, and as my productivity can improve, as income levels improve, all those sorts of things. So let's talk about requirements. I want you to edit the Brands and F videos, but what exactly does a Brands and F video entail? Well, first of all, I would not send you an entirely raw video clip. Much like this one has been done up, I would go through and sync up the audio with the video. As well, I would cut out any moments that I don't want to be As well, I would cut out any moments that I do not want to be shown, things like where I stumble and have to do a second take of something, much like that. I will send you a file that looks exactly like this current video and then ask you to pick it up from here. With that, I'd like you to aim for roughly 4 edits per minute of footage on average. Those edits would take the form of pretty much what you're used to. Things like flashing historical images on the screen and fading in and out, fading into wider panoramas and scrolling across them like you saw me do in my Zulu videos recently. Maybe some, again, very basic level animations, like a figure moving across the bottom of my screen, or perhaps a block moving from one side of the screen to another to represent an army moving across a map, that kind of thing. And like I said, of course, if I ever give some sort of a comedic reference, maybe a little zoom in on my face for the reaction, and then zoom back out, again, in proper time. Basically, I want you to make sure there's enough stuff happening on the screen so there's no incredibly long moments of me just standing here all boring like, the sort of thing that you're watching right now, just lecturing on and on and on as I go. Like I said, I'm looking for a very rough average of approximately 4 noticeable edits per minute of footage. So around every 15 seconds or so, and of course those edits would each take a few seconds themselves, so I think that it results in a pretty visually varied experience for the viewer. Again, treat it as a broad average. Some videos may need more, and others may not be so complex, and they would demand less edits. Even within a single video, there may be long portions where there's very little, if any, editing necessary at all, but then there may be other sections where I'm rattling off all sorts of statistics. 100 men marched for 20 days, eating 2 pounds of bread per day, or rations per day, and each wagon can only carry 200 pounds of munitions rations at any given point. Ergo, you need to have 10 wagons can last you for exactly this long on a march, and You get the picture, I'm sure. But the thing is that picture would certainly be a lot more clear, especially given how much I was stumbling there. It was a little off the cuff. It would be a lot nicer, of course, to have some fancy editing all around me to reflect that picture. I would also like some music to be included in more of my videos, and putting appropriate music in the background would also be a part of that job. For my part, I will be providing a hopefully ever-expanding library of music for you to use that is either copyright-free or that I got permission to use. So it's not like I'm saying, go find me some music. No, I'll be like, hey, here's the list of things you can choose from. Find something that you know works, and I would have my own ideas as far as what I'd like. As well, I'm going to be putting together a library of historical images, thoroughly sorted through and labeled and that you could also pull from. Of course, not every necessary image will always be in that library, and especially very early on, while that image library is still being built up, a significant part of your time would be you going out and finding appropriate images on your own. And then, of course, we can throw it into the library and sort through it all to have it for future reference. Of course, if I want anything in particular, like pictures or photos or videos or whatever, and I usually do always have a few things in mind, then I will make sure to communicate that with you, and I'll give you timestamps like, hey, I want this picture to flash at this point, things like that. And similarly, of course, if you had any questions or concerns about whether a piece is appropriate in any given context, well, naturally, we would both be in good communication throughout the process, with each other to make sure that we're all on the same page. And if you have any questions, you feel free to ask me, of course. Finally, of course, you would need to put at the end of every video a credit sequence for which I would provide you with a list of names. And naturally, if you so choose, you would be fully within your rights to have your own name or social media handle or whatever in the video credits as well. I certainly would not mind you plugging yourself a little bit at the end of every video. And of course, finally, to the fun part, payment. I am currently looking at a figure of $5 for every finished minute of video. So for a 20-minute long video, you would get around $100. And I'm expecting that to work out theoretically to around $25 an hour. Now that is also something I am very willing to negotiate. If you feel you're bringing something to the table that is worth more than that figure, or if you're doing really good editing but it takes a little bit longer, and so the hourly rate would go down, I mean, I'm absolutely willing to have that conversation, to work things out. Above all else, I want to make sure that you, if I decide to bring you on, that you're being compensated fairly and you are, agreeable with the overall situation. So feel free to mention that, if I decide to reach out to you with an offer. I have just noticed that my audio has died, but something tells me if you're already at this point, then you may be interested in, in helping me out. So if you are so inclined and you'd like to pursue this opportunity, you may have already guessed that I have made up an application process of sorts. I've been hinting at it all throughout this video, but as a quick little resume of a kind, I would like you to put your abilities to the test and edit this video, or at the very least, a segment of this video, totaling around 5 minutes. A little more, a little less, whatever, that's fine. Choose any portion of this video that you think is best suited towards demonstrating your ability to edit this content according to the parameters which I set, and of course, have fun with it. Don't feel the need to be absolutely literal or absolutely serious with this entire project, because obviously, once I hire the editors, this video will be removed and it won't be any sort of permanent content. Take this as a chance to show off a little bit. Again, sort of treat it like a resume, as if you want to list off as many skills and qualifications as you can. Show me what you can do, and that you can, edit along the lines of what I'm looking for. Once you've edited a 5-minute portion of this video, I would like you to upload it to YouTube in 4K quality, please, as an unlisted video. Then you'll see that I have a Google form linked below, which I'd like you to fill out with some basic information, which is all designed around making sure that we are both a good fit for each other. Aside from the Google form and uploading that 4K quality video, again, 5 minutes please, or roughly thereabouts, a little less, a little more, that's fine, whatever you think is best. There are no other requirements besides those things, aside from your being able to create an account on Fiverr. That is my way of making sure that everything regarding payments and tax information and personal information is all above board. So this way I don't have to ask you for things like your age or your address or anything like that, or your country of origins. So long as you're able to make the Fiverr account, that's all I need to know. And of course, I'll be able to pay you through their platform and everything. And of course, I would also be sure to cover the 20% fee that Fiverr charges on all of their, all their transactions. If I'm giving you $5 for every minute of footage, I'd actually pay $6 in order to cover the fee, so it won't cut into your pay rate at all. And of course, if you have any questions about any of this stuff, whether it's the payment or how you want I want the videos edited or anything like that, do please feel free to reach out to me. You can email me at brandonfyt@gmail.com, although please note that that email is reserved for business inquiries like this one. Or alternatively, you can reach out to me on Facebook, Instagram, or even on Discord. I will include all that information down below here so you can see how to reach me best. Applications will be open for the next 2 weeks, but also if you're a little bit late, then that's all right too. I'll also be sure to let you know one way or the other at least a week after applications are closed, whether I've chosen you or not. I really hate, above all else, that horrible waiting and wondering if you're even going to hear back from people and whatnot. In any case, thank you all so very much for your consideration and for applications and all that kind of stuff. I hope this is all going to be fun, and I hope that it allows me to be a lot more productive on this channel than I've otherwise been. And of course, until the next time, my dear viewer, I am and I shall remain your most humble and obedient of servants.